Good morning and welcome to day 4 of the 2025 Boccia Blast. We have reached the final day of competition and we have 4 matchups for you today. First, we're starting with Jenna and Jim. This is BC2 category. We've had Jim a couple of times on this court, and we've had Jenna, I think, once earlier in the competition. And be another great matchup. Our referee is Isabel, a very experienced referee, so this will be a well done match. We've been told we can proceed. Jenna is playing red, so she will begin with the jack. Ball's been placed just beyond the X. At the right line, just a little bit too much weight. The jack very fully exposed for Jim. He is closer, but the jack is still very exposed. We'll see which athlete will take control of it. Jenna seems to be having some challenges controlling the weight. Sometimes when you have two that are too heavy, you can find yourself coming up too light, and that is definitely the case here. Two balls remain. You may have heard that the referee asked Jenna um, what it is she'd like to see. The referee cannot nor should not um, assume where the athlete would like to be. So clear communication is necessary. And we'll need to get a ball close here. There's a lot of open space. See how Jim manages here, but there's a lot of open space available. referee is in a peculiar position for the camera, so that second shot is hard to get because she's in position to see, but in that regard, we are having difficulty seeing through her legs. Looks to me like it would be two. She did give a signal on the paddle, but I didn't see what she gave. I think what we're seeing here is that there are some balls piled up in the front, so what ended up being sort of open got really kind of narrowed by a couple of missed shots, and it's been hard to get through. Maybe two or three if we're looking at that angle. Two. Three for blue. So 3-0 after one end. Jim scored 50% of his balls, so he would be happy with that. I think there was opportunity for maybe one more, but I think if you're starting a game and wasn't your jack to score three on your opponent's jack, you're in a pretty good position. Got 30 seconds left in the little break, and then we'll proceed with second end. Our cameraman and technical producer Paul had a conversation with the referee, and they have a bit of more of an understanding of exactly what we're shooting. So hopefully we will have better access to the play there. So well done between Paul and the official to try to make a happy medium. Ball is just over the V line on the side of blue, which is primarily what you see in the game. You see players play on their own side of the jack, and the reason for that is exactly what we just see: a perfect first ball, and that really sets the tone for the remainder of the end. Talk about it a lot about this idea that the first ball is really important. I think you're about to see an example of why the first ball is important, because Jenna's really going to need some power to make it move. With being down three after the first, I would suspect you would want to try to score a point, but Jim has made it incredibly challenging for that. The jack is still available for Jim. Balls are building up at the back for Jenna, and sadly that's a good ball there because now she's got something in the front she could work with. She was leaning towards some struggle because she didn't have much in front, and Jim was only going to be able to use the back balls for backing, but now she's got the front covered up more. Nice shot by Jim. I would say that it's two for sure. Looking at that angle, he's working on removing that red ball a bit further and further away from the white. Definitely got that jack ball surrounded. Definitely gonna score a couple there. 5 for blue. So very good end by Jim. This is a challenge that existed with Jenna because what happened was she only had the one ball in front, and once that was able to sort of be further separated from the white ball, there was space to score points. Score after two ends is 8-0 for Jim. Jim looking to be in full control. These can be challenging, these games mentally, because you if you're up 8-0, you can sort of easily lose the focus because you're in control, and you don't want to lose focus because anything can happen at any time. And then if you're the red player, Jenna, in this example, it would be challenging because you know you're not having the greatest first half of the game. So to keep yourself up and motivated to keep playing well can be tough. So just short of the 5 meter mark was the white ball, which you see now. Decent First ball, it is in the area of the white ball, but it's off to the side, so the jack is exposed to Jim. And he took advantage of that. And even though it's not, you know, in perfect position, he is able to use it later on in the end if he chooses to by pushing it. Nice attempt with the draw, and she got in there. I would wonder if Jim's gonna try the push or the draw. I feel like the draw would be the easier of the two, especially given the score. But given that he's gonna bowl, I think he's gonna attempt the push and stick. Red to play, so he is counting. Right through. It's too bad she didn't make contact with any of those outside ones because it would have landed right on the white. Sometimes you can be a little too precise and not get exactly what you want. Wonderful shot there. Nice draw, and she did push the white back a little bit, so I would wonder if that red ball on the side next to the blue, closest to our camera angle, when you see it the next time, would wonder if that one's scoring. She would be at least scoring one, possibly two. Jim made quick order of that, opened it up. He probably wanted to open it up and still be the one to go, because now the way it's set up is that Jenna would have another chance to draw if he was still the one to play. He'd be able to open it up and then draw to the jack. So in that instance, you're actually rooting not to be the closer one because you're giving your opponent a potential open jack, which Jenna did not take advantage of. would suspect Jim is now going to take advantage of it. Open it up a little more. Seemed happy with that. He's trying to ricochet off the outside and into the white. Pushed it back and he got there. I think we're looking at 3. Referee Isabel says, let's make sure. But based on from my angle to the the left of the court, I would hazard to guess 3 points. Isabel's just figuring out the best angle for her to measure. Two. That third one is not in there. Guess that third ball on the far side there between the two reds was not as close as I thought it may have been. Two blue. Jim is in full control of this match. Assistant head referee Steve Dukovich and Jenna's attendant are getting the balls back. It's 10-0. Why is there a countdown happening? Why are we going to play the fourth end? Well, the answer to that question is a simple one. This is for this category and most categories in the tournament. We are playing a round robin style, so there is no semifinal and gold medal game necessarily for each division. It's just a round robin style. Some of them have double round robins, some of them have single round robins. I'm pretty sure most of them have double round robins. The only category that has the pools is the BC3s. So points matter in round robin style tournaments. Ball is in play just over the V line. It's in the back of the white ball. Not exactly what Jim would have wanted, but certainly in the area if ever he needs to push the jack back. he would be able to do so with confidence that his ball would be the closest. Bit too heavy there for Jenna. And again, same thing, just the other side. A little closer, but still behind the jack. She'll want to get something in front, like we talked about in the second end. Otherwise, she will have a big score. But as we saw in the second end, Jim is able to move one ball if necessary. Very good ball by Jenna. It's on the jack and pretty well blocking Jim. Jim will have no fear to try to open this up. The game is in his favor, and he's done that. So, again, the sort of unfortunate part about the end result there is that he's opened it up, which is what he wanted to accomplish. But he's opened it up, and it's now Jenna's turn to play. So G ultimately ended up pushing Jim's ball closer. There's one ball remaining. She got it in there, but I do think Jim will have the ability to score a few more if he chooses to. He will know what the plus minus situation is, so points that he's scored versus points that he's had scored against him. He will know and understand if he needs more points or doesn't. Basically, how that works is if there's a three-way tie and three people have the same record, then we go to points for and against and the difference, and that's how we would determine the tiebreaker. If two athletes are tied with the same record, then you would go to their head-to-head matchup first. The only time that points for and against would matter is if three athletes have the same record. Feels he needs more points here, so that's what he's working on. It's at least two, whether or not the third one's counting at the moment. As we're watching Jim, we do notice from time to time, unless my eyes are tricking me, which I don't think they are, but he's ambidextrous, so he does have the ability to throw with both arms, and that's legal in the BC2 category. One thing that I think I should note here now is when you see athletes moving in the box, you may think to yourself, well, what if they're on the line when they're moving? as long as they are in their box at the time of releasing the ball without being on a line. They can do any kind of moving they need to do during their turn. Five points for Jim, and you may have caught it on the mic down below. And Jim said, "I'm sorry, I had to do this for points," and that's because Jim has had a couple of losses in the tournament. So when you do that, you need to make sure you can take advantage of your points when available to you. That said, dominant performance by Jim. I think the score was probably a little, could have been a little tighter than it was. Jim made some very nice shots to move things around and therefore was able to take advantage of, of some extra points. That is the end of our first round of games. We will have another one at, um, I'll be told in a second. Hang on. 11:30 a.m. And that matchup, if the schedule remains, will be Marta and Andrea. So we'll have another or an open division game, and that is a semifinal. Um, so look forward to that coming at 11:30. Until then, be well, and we'll be back in a little while. Hello and welcome back to another matchup on day 4 of the 2025 Boccia Blast. I'm Brock Richardson, and this game is between Martha and Andrea. As you can see, ball, the white ball, and the first ball have been placed. You'll get the angle of that in seconds, I'm sure. There we go. Jack is open, probably about close to 7 meters in length of the court. Martha probably ate too many Wheaties this morning. Too much power on that first shot. Martha needs to go again. Too much power. Both of the first two balls are out of play. She will go again until she is either closer or out of balls. She has tapped up the red ball. Blue could be closer there, but it looks like red is just sneaking it in. Two balls remaining. When you play at this kind of distance, accuracy can sometimes be sacrificed because it is a further distance. And so when we see the close close play, you often see it be a lot tighter. And the further it is in the court, the less tight you see it. That's just because it is a further distance than what we're normally used to. Andrea is going to look at the situation that you are currently looking at. She's perfectly able to do that. Seems to be quite a bit of space. She did push the blue up. I do wonder now if the blue is counting, maybe. She obviously still feels that the red is counting. That's a lovely shot by Andrea. Definitely scoring. She was scoring one originally, and then the blue ball got moved, so I'm not sure if it's one or two. It's for sure one. Referee has decided she's going to measure. Can tell you who our referee is. I can't remember in my mind. Oh, it's Helene, uh, who is our official. She was involved in a significant situation earlier in the event. Relatively new referee. She is the mother of Dominic Gomez. It's a family affair in this sport. Mostly you have one parent who will do the sport assisting, the other one will do the officiating or volunteering. And in this case, Helene has chosen to be a new ref. There is a signal for the head referee. This is the assistant head referee, Steve Dukovic, going to commence with the measurement. Or yeah, he's going to commence with the measurement. Steve Dukovic is the father of technical delegate Adam Dukovic, who is a Paralympian, retired athlete. So still runs in the family there as well. They're a big part of um, Boccia Blast in the organizing committee. Adam's a good friend of mine. Steve's a good friend of mine. Go to lots of London Knights games over the course of the year. I think what's happening here is Helena's not necessarily confident that her tape measure was touching appropriately as it should. So she wanted the steady hands of Steve Dukovic to do the measurement to confirm, to make sure it's all correct. As you can see, it's very precise. One of the athletes just acknowledged that she should have brought the chair over to watch the measurement. I'm wondering where the popcorn is. I don't know if Paul's got some in his pocket for me to have, but I don't see him reaching in there, so I don't think there's popcorn anywhere. So if I can help the conversation here, it is four red, but then the fifth one is equal to the fourth red. So each of the points then count. So you still get the fourth red point, but then the other blue ball that is tied with the fourth ball is determined as equal distance. So then both parties do get the 1 point because you can't say, you know, one is touching more than another. If it's the same distance, it's the same distance. So you don't see this too often, but we have 4 points for red and 1 point for blue, obviously with a differential of 3 points. But the two equal distance balls still do go on the board. 40 seconds remaining in this break. In the next break, I'm going to give you a programming note, if you will. We're going to do some relocating. We're going to be live on location at another court later on in the day. So stay tuned for that, and I'll give you all the reasons why and all the stuff. But yeah, that will be happening after this match. Martha will play her jack now. Really good first ball by Martha to be able to have the lengthy lengthy measurement that we had to come back and throw your jack and a really good first ball. That's really good. Andrea made some contact with the white ball, and now there is some separation there. You can see it there. It's even more separated. That is where the red ball landed once making contact with this situation. Now she's looking for a draw. Too heavy. And is out of play. What you see happening there now is an example of an athlete who knows they have to have power. So they threw a couple of balls of power, and then you have to really rein it back in and get the draw. And that's really tough to do. Oh, wow. Rolled right in the right area. Just a little too far still. You want to make that exact same attempt, just a tad less weight. And she accomplished that with the tad less weight. The front of the jack, I think, would still be open to Marta if she chooses that, but she does not have a lot of room and space to accomplish that because the red ball is behind. But I do still believe that the white ball is at least partially exposed to Marta. could now promote that blue ball better, probably, because she nudged it over so it's more in line. Remember, the ball was essentially on the jack when she threw it, and Andrea made some separation attempts. Marta is also ambidextrous. We saw that with Jim Davis earlier. In the BC4 Open Division, that is also allowed. Right through the uprights of the two red balls. If she was able to ricochet off the red ball further away from the jack, she might be able to sandwich it there. Just pulled it a bit. She really had trouble controlling her weights there. She might. I don't think she's scoring there unless there's more distance between the red and the white at the back. But I still would think it's one. One more for Andrea. Andrea in control of this game. This is a knockout semifinal in the BC4 and Open division. So the winner will play in the gold medal game later on today. 15 seconds. The conversation happening with the athletes. I think Andrea, if I was to guess, was a bit too aggressive with the balls there. So she, I don't want to guess here, so I'm just going to wait. Can I see the score clock in the top? Okay, so there's the clock seems to be accurate. So the conversation that's being had at the scores table is something else. Oh, I see what it is. We're not advanced to the fourth end. or the third end, excuse me. We're not advanced there, so we need to get there before we can play. The system, it needs input for every end, so you can't just say, okay, well, I'm gonna wipe this and I'm gonna add. Each end has its own specified set, so you can't just say, well, because I can't flip over to end three in this case, we'll just um, take the balls back. We'll update the score. Each end has its own beginning and end. So the computer has to be told what it needs to do. And right now, we're just stuck between end two and end three. Well, I have a couple of minutes. After this game, the semifinal game, me and my crew will be moving over to courts uh, 4, 5, and we will be broadcasting some different games there. Now that this end is starting, I will finish that in the next break. Ball is in play, just past the 5 meter mark. It's on the side closest to the camera. You're going to see that in seconds with Andrea's first ball, which is on the side of Marta, but it's got some distance so that she can draw on either side if she chooses. Yeah, Rob's just informing me of the what took place between the ends, and it's exactly what I told you, that they were managed to fix it, even though it still says end number two. Blue is still to play. They must have found some sort of workaround or override, as you will, to be able to reset it, the time. But the balls, as you see, will not reflect what is left on the court. So I will have to pull out my abacus and make sure that I count appropriately because I can't follow uh, what is on the screen. There we go. Now we're up to date. One click of a button and everything changes. Andrea obviously found um, a place where she can capitalize so far. Martha has struggled with the cross court distance game. She does have some balls in front, but they aren't really on the side of Andrea. Rather, they are more of a nuisance for Martha, which is not ideal. Nice try by Martha, but because of the clogging up at the front, She really had to move it with a lot of strength. And if we look at the situation now, Andrea has an opening on her side, and I think she'll be able to draw as long as she's got the weight right. She'll be able to draw a few points. That's my prediction. And she drew rather nicely there. Although the jack ball did get moved a bit towards that blue ball, so we'll see if that second red is still counting. That's on the floor. Rolling in there. It's one for sure. She nudged that red ball a little bit now, so don't think that one's scoring. That one is definitely scoring. So we know for sure it's two. And we'll see whether Aline decides to measure the third. I'm going to tell you a little athlete secret that we have, and this is courtesy of my father, who used to be my longtime personal coach, part of the national program for a long time. But if a referee is standing over the situation for more than a three Steamboat, three Mississippi count, the likelihood is that they don't 100% know how many are scoring. So the rule of thumb is if they're standing over the situation and they just don't look to be sure, make sure there's a measurement at any point. So if you can get in your head as an athlete and you could say, okay, the referee, in this case Helene, is standing over the situation for more than three Mississippis, three Steamboats, whatever you want to call it, then it's probably worth a measurement. We're having the similar situation as we did in a previous end. You want to make sure that the measuring tape is touching the ball, but not so much that you may impact it and move it away, because that will cause a whole other disruption. And Rob, who is standing further over that you cannot see at this moment, he's just watching. Eileen is a relatively new referee. Um, this is a national event, so you just want to make sure that things are being done the way that it should. Rob is slowly moving his foot into the court. I think he's expecting a call upon very soon. He sees that I'm looking in his direction, so he knows that I'm thinking he'll probably be called upon. Again, if both of these balls are equal distance, then they would go onto the board like they did before. We have two for sure. I'm not sure whether that third one is counting. It seems like it's two. Two for the red. So that makes it 6-0 for Andrea. Oh, sorry, 8-0 for Andrea. The score wasn't updated the last time, so it said 4, but then we didn't get to add the points. I did think there was 1 point for blue because the equal distance ball was also counted in the previous end where it was 4-1. So not really sure what happened to that equal distance point, but uh, um, it was on the board at one point and should be on the board now. Nobody seems to be concerned about the 1 point that was there, but it was identified on the paddle a couple of ends ago, so shouldn't just disappear. Marta will play. Score is 8-0. Just catching the score up from when we had the malfunction, so much so that I forgot there were 2 other points that weren't put on the board from when we had the technical challenge. These two players are very fast throwers, so pardon the little bit of delay in camera work, but that's simply because Marta and Andrea are throwing very quickly in this end, and good ball by Marta. Andrea will play defense. She doesn't really mind that um, that ball is on the jack. She's pretty well won this semifinal unless something real crazy happens. This is not about points for and against because it is a semifinal. So a win carries you to the gold medal game, and a loss carries you to the bronze medal game. Very nicely defended. Ball is completely surrounded. Perfectly defended end by Andrea. She knows now, sitting in the back of the box, very comfortably looking, I may add. She's sitting there knowing that she's going to be playing for a gold medal in the BC4 Open Division. Marta, credit to her, she's giving it her best efforts. Um, Again, it really doesn't necessarily matter in a semifinal whether you lose by 8 or you lose by 2. It's a loss in a semifinal is a loss, and therefore Andrea will go on to the gold medal game, likely around 2:30 Eastern time, when we'll be broadcasting the Carter Plum versus Joshua Gautier game from another court in a different location. Um, talk about that in full detail in moments. I'm pretty sure the score of this game is 8-1. I don't think the one for Marta that should be reflected is reflected. Very nice shots by by Marta. She might get a couple. Another measure. Oh no, it's like just one based on the conversation I'm tuned into. Wow, 3 blue. I thought I heard one, and she was able to get 3 blues in there. like I said, I think it's actually 8-4. Um, but see if I can maybe get. Huh? Yeah, I believe the score is 9-4. Yeah, Rob is going to check because I'm pretty sure that we had a 4 in and number 2, and the one that didn't count there. So it's kind of an academic situation, but okay. I thought because she put it on the paddle, it would still go on the board. Okay. Okay. So not based on what the official showed. I thought they were still putting the extra point on the board. They don't do that. Um, so the acknowledgement to the on the paddle was just the fact that the last ball that Steve measured for a lengthy time was equal distance, but because there was more red, therefore that equal distance point does not go on the board, and so the final score is 8-3. I was mistaken based on what I saw the referee do with her fingers. So that is the end of this game. We will be back around 1:30 Eastern time, and what we're going to do is we're going to move courts. We're going to go broadcast from court 5 because technical delegate Adam Dukovic and I and my team discussed the fact that the BC3 final between Carter and Josh was originally supposed to be on court 1, which is the stream court, but because the court is very lumpy and bumpy, the Rampers had requested to move to a different court, and so we are going to move along with them. So thank you to everybody involved to move it, but I need to get off the air so that we can accomplish lunch and moving. So tune in at 1:30. We will broadcast one game first and then the gold medal final. So lots of great action coming up very, very soon. Stay with us and bear with us. Until then, enjoy.